There is something to be said for a gigantic cinema camera package that's got all the features you could ever want. But I mean, there is something special about a tiny camera that's still capable of amazing images that gives you this weird sense of freedom. Luckily, there's a whole bunch of these available these days. The problem is, it's hard to find one that balances both great image quality and not having a price tag that's equal to a used car. Since we're all fanboys, we all have our own opinions about which camera we would prefer to fit this spot, which is kind of fun. I mean, that's what makes each operator different and unique. But the idea of capturing cinema quality images in a body that can actually fit in your pocket was popularized by one camera, and it happened back in 2013.
Did it have a lot of issues? Yeah, baby. Was it hard to use and operate? Yeah, baby. Did it change the industry? I think so. Raw video had never been possible in a camera so small and at a price point so low. Sure, the sensor was tiny, but now users could wield incredible image quality for less than $1,000.
5 years later, the evolution of the pocket cinema camera was released to the world. I remember exactly where I was sitting when I watched the announcement live. The spec sounded impossible. A micro four thirds size sensor capable of RAW at up to 60 FPS, and all with a gigantic rear display and Blackmagic's excellent operating system, all for just under $1,300 bucks. I was using a Sony a6500 at the time, which is around the same price point, and while the 6500 is still an awesome camera, still to this day, my footage compared to the Pocket 4K footage looked noticeably less nuanced. I had never seen beautiful color science and richness and density in any footage at that price point, or even adjacent price points. Here we are in mid-2023. It's been 5 years since the release of the Pocket 4K, and it's one of the most widely adopted and widely beloved video cameras in the world. You can find hundreds of them for sale used. I wanted to see how well the Pocket 4K has aged, and if it's still relevant in today's camera climate. So I asked Blackmagic to borrow one.
The Pocket cinema body is familiar at this point, almost nostalgic to me. There have been plenty of upgrades made to it by this point. I just got done reviewing the Pocket 6K Pro, which is a truly excellent camera, but this is a completely different thing. The Pocket 4K is simple. It offers you a truly powerful set of recording options at a great price and leaves the rest to you. You aren't going to get autofocus, a tilt screen, IBIS, or any other mirrorless features because this is indeed a cinema camera. If you need a different monitor solution, add one. If you need less micro jitter in your footage, add more weight to your rig. If you need a larger sensor area than micro four thirds, add a booster. The Pocket 4K is refreshingly simple in its approach and allows you to save money because of it. I remember people being frustrated by their approach for that reason because some operators want a full array of compact mirrorless assist features in every camera they use. My answer to that is simple. If a camera body frustrates you because it doesn't give you the features you need, then it isn't the camera body for you. There are, however, thousands of operators looking for a powerful sensor for their video needs and don't want to spend mirrorless prices. If you approach the Pocket 4K from that angle, how does it stack up? You can buy a Pocket 4K new for $1,295 plus tax, or you can pick one up used for as low as $800 depending on the condition in the kit. For that, you're getting a micro four thirds 4K sensor with dual native ISOs at 400 and 3200. Blackmagic RAW and ProRes can be recorded internally up to 60 FPS at DCI 4K and up to 120 FPS in 2K. CineD clocked the sensor at 12 stops of dynamic range at a signal-to-noise ratio of 1 and 11 stops at a signal-to-noise ratio of 2. Rolling shutter performance isn't terrible, but whip pans at longer focal lengths will definitely show some jello, so shoot accordingly. 400 ISO is really great for regular conditions, but it's really nice to be able to bump up to that second native ISO if you need extra sensitivity. Depending on the lens, the Pocket 4K is surely capable of shooting in less than ideal lighting conditions. Blackmagic image quality is excellent as usual. The noise floor is reasonable, and the noise itself is very easy to work with, or denoise if you must. Detail is well handled, neither too sharp nor too soft. Dynamic range is decent, highlight roll-off is decent, color science is excellent. Everything is there, and the final image is lovely. We all knew the image quality would be good, but general usability is more of an interesting discussion. I like the hand grip a lot. There's a generous amount of camera to hold on to, especially if you have the extra battery grip like I do. The rear display is massive, sharp, and incredibly easy to use. It is, however, fixed and does not tilt. Depending on your needs, this could be a complete non-issue or a deal breaker. As a documentary cam, I would say an external display is essential. I didn't rent one with my Pocket 4K, and it was surely harder to use, but not impossible. Another possible roadblock could be battery life. You'll get 45 minutes maximum out of the internal battery, and in most cases less. Luckily, there's a wealth of external power options for the Pocket 4K, and most of them relatively inexpensive. You can run external V-mounts, NPFs, and anything in between depending on your needs and preferences. In an ideal world, I would run an external monitor, a cage, a rear slung V-mount or gold mount, and a base plate with 15mm rails, which would solve the third problem with the Pocket 4K, the lightness of the camera body. If you want smooth handheld footage, you're going to need to add some weight to your rig. The button layout is great, the touchscreen is excellent, and the startup time is quick too. If you're running the camera on sticks most of the time, then great. Plug in the AC adapter and you're done. It really depends on how you want to use the camera, but there's always options. Blackmagic gives us 3.5mm headphone and mic jacks, a full-size HDMI, 12-volt power, USB-C for external drives, and a mini XLR port, which does need an adapter to full-size XLR. On the other side of the camera, we have a single SD slot and a single CFast slot. Micro Four Thirds is a mount and sensor size that I'm less familiar with, and you'll have to try harder to get that thin depth of field if you're used to using super fast lenses on a full-frame sensor. There is a massive selection of Micro Four Thirds lenses available, and you can also adapt just about any other lens. Plus, there are a ton of speed boosters available if you're going for a wider field of view. The options are endless, and that's part of the reason why the Pocket 4K simplicity is so fun. It's also really easy to pack the Pocket 4K if you're going for a day trip or hiking or something like that. It really is fun to have a camera that is capable of so much, takes up so little space, and costs so little.
In my opinion, this cinema body is still relevant, and very relevant at that. If I had to start fresh right now, and I had less than $1,000 to spend on a cinema body, I would probably choose this one. Sure, you have to buy additional rigging and attachments, but that's the fun part. You can design your rig the way you want to. And if you outgrow the Pocket 4K and you want more resolution, you can replace the body with the 6K and keep the rest of your rig. Any way you cut it, the Pocket 4K was excellent. It is excellent, and it will continue to be excellent for a long time. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.